Most guys wonder why they get friend zoned and ghosted over and over, but they're literally talking to women the same way they talk to men. Logical with zero flirting. I used to think flirting wasn't important, but then I tried it and it took my interactions from dry to filled with chemistry, and it changed my results. So in this video, I want to give you my simple definition of flirting, why it's an important skill set that you need to learn, and then I'll show you the 3-step process for learning it, and I'll give you a list of 15 new lines that I wrote specifically for this video. And if you don't know how to flirt or you're not good at it, this video could change your results, because now you'll be able to spark a sexual dynamic rather than having these friendly conversations that go nowhere. All right, so what even is flirting? Well, flirting is like foreplay before sex. It's the back and forth dance of sexual energy. And there's a ton of blogs and bullcrap videos on the internet that get this all wrong. Okay, I saw this TED Talk from about a month ago. It's at 900,000 views. This lady's on stage talking about flirting, and she's like, flirting is when you make the other person feel seen. Right, so there's all these idiotic ideas on the internet about like dating. A lot of it comes from women who write these blogs. And that's another reason why you should never ask AI for dating advice. All right, AI, remember, it's taking an average of all the blogs, all of the videos on the internet, and all these blogs, all these people, they don't actually have experience, and a lot of them are women. All right, so they don't actually attract women. Okay, but that's what flirting is. It's foreplay before sex. Very simple. All right, so why is this even important in the first place? Why should you learn this as a skill set? Well, number one, it builds sexual tension. All right, just like you wouldn't enter a woman if she's dry, you don't ask a girl out of nowhere or escalate without flirting first. All right, a ton of guys get this wrong. They think they can just talk to women like they're men, okay, logically, without a bunch of flirtation. All right, and then out of the blue, asks the girl out on a date. And what happens is the girl, she's caught by surprise, all right, because out of nowhere, you're being like this friendly guy, and all of a sudden, oh, well, you wanna go on a date with me? Right, so you need to flirt and build that attraction over time. And number two, flirting can and does trigger attraction. All right, it shows sexual confidence when you're able to flirt. And girls are not used to this from guys. All right, girls are used to the friendly, nice guy kind of vibe. When you can do this, it just sets you apart so much. All right, it shows social skill and boldness that you're willing to do this. All right, these are all very desirable traits that can trigger attraction. Number three, women aren't going to take initiative. All right, women generally are not going to lead the interaction for you and be the first one to make things beyond friendly, meaning flirtatious. All right, they're more careful than men because it's more of a big deal when they are viewed as a slut, okay? Well, you know, aren't there guys like Clavicular who get hit on first by women? Aren't there celebrities, you know, famous people who get hit on first by women? Yes, it's true. Women are willing to take the risk to actually go out on a limb for someone they perceive as much higher in value than them. All right, so these aren't the women that you want anyways. Like, let's say you're out at the bar and there's a girl flirting with you first. That girl's gonna be below your league, okay? You're not interested in women below your league. At least I don't think so. You're interested in women who are on your level or out of your league. All right, and those women are not going to take the risk, okay? The risk reward is not there for them to actually go out on a limb and be the first one to flirt and actually like lead the interaction almost. Okay, so that's why you must take initiative as a man. You must be the one to take the risk. And by the way, it's not looked down upon if, you know, you have some balls and you actually flirt with a girl. It's actually a good thing as a man. All right, so that's why you actually need to learn how to flirt. It's essential. All right, so I'm gonna give you the 3-step process that even if you're a beginner, you can use to start flirting as soon as possible. And step number one is teasing. Okay, this is like a level down from actually flirting where there's a frame of you and the girl together, but it can be done in a flirtatious way, and I do classify it as flirting. All right, so it's easier for most guys, and it gets your foot in the door, excuse me. All right, so one thing to understand about teasing is it doesn't have to logically make sense. You know, a lot of guys think that everything has to like correspond to reality when they're joking around with women. It doesn't at all, okay? It's the vibe behind it. Doesn't so for example, I could be talking to a girl and be like, you know, you look like you go to bingo night. And it doesn't even have to correspond to the way she looks, her personality, or anything. Another example, wait a second, don't stand too close to me. You know, these people are gonna think we're together. All right, and I wrote another one. By the way, you don't have to copy these down right now. I'm gonna give you a list of all these flirting lines at the end of the video. Okay, one tip that I have for you is watch comedians. Watch Kill Tony. All right, in this show, in this podcast, they're very good at roasting people. You can find a lot of good ideas on there. And also, this is something you want to practice daily. Okay, not just with attractive women, not just with women, but just with everyone. You know, you can tease men, you can tease women alike, and it just automatically gets you into that pattern. All right, now once you become pretty proficient with teasing and you know you're comfortable with doing that, then you can move to step 2, which is learning some formats to flirt, all right? Because there's different formats. All right, you know, in 2026 though, like the idea of prepared lines triggers a lot of people for some reason. I swear people get more outraged online over like lines and like pickup artistry than they do over like, I don't know, starving children or something. It just blows my mind, people's priorities now. All right, you know, these lines are actually a great tool to learn how to flirt. You know, I don't recommend memorizing entire routines and scripts. You know, that's not even the most effective way to attract women. But lines, and I'm gonna show you why, these are very effective to learn how to flirt. All right, because it gives you inspiration, like you learn things that you just didn't know existed before, okay? And number 2, it allows you to not have to think. You know, especially like if you're a beginner, maybe intermediate, you're still like nervous when talking to women and you're practicing flirting for the first time. So if you already have a line that's memorized, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to be witty in the moment. You can just pull it out of your back pocket, repeat it, okay, and then practice it and gain it as a part of your programming, a part of your system. All right, so now I want to talk about some different formats for actually flirting. I'm going to briefly explain each. And the first one is misinterpretation. So this is where you reframe the girl as hitting on you. And oftentimes this is going to be very situational based off of something the girl does or something the girl says. And I'll give you one example. You know, you don't have to try to impress me right now. Okay, these other 2 lines will be at the end of the video. All right, the other format is disqualifying. This is when you playfully push away the girl from the idea of like hanging out or dating. So for example, you know, we are way too different for each other. You know, we're too different. I don't think we're gonna get along. All right, this actually makes a girl want to chase you, right? She's not used to guys pushing away. This is called breaking rapport. All right, so instead of being the guy who's always, oh, come closer to me, oh, compliment, 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 breaking rapport, it shows the girl that you're actually, you know, you have enough balls to playfully push her away. And that is a key part of this, is that it's playful, right? If I said to a girl stone-faced, hey, you know, we're just not gonna get along, you know, just like that, that's not good game, right? That's probably legitimately gonna kill the vibe in the moment. All right, so that's disqualifying. And the third format is a push-pull. So this is where you tease and you give the girl validation in quick succession. So this gives her like sort of an ambiguity feeling towards you. It makes her excited. She doesn't know whether you're sold or not yet. So that means she still has to try and invest in actually winning you over. And this is similar. This is a part of this is breaking rapport, like disqualifying. So one example is like, you know what, you're funny. I didn't really expect that out of you, right? So the pull, which would be like pulling towards you, would be the compliment, you're funny. And then the push would be like, I didn't really expect that. And so the girl's like, oh, you didn't think I would be funny? Right? So this gives her that, sort of roller coaster of emotions. It's just, a lot of people think this is like sinister manipulation, like, oh my gosh, the push pull. It's not like that at all. This is really just flirting. It's just playing around and creating some sexual tension. All right, so that's push pull. The other one is a hypothetical situation, and this one you can get very creative. There's a lot of different ways to do this. And this is where you create a fake scenario that involves you and the girl. And what this does is it just creates the frame of you and the girl together. Okay? So one example is like, you know what? We're gonna hike the entire Appalachian Trail. I don't know where it goes from, maybe Georgia to New Hampshire. Yeah, we're gonna hike it together tomorrow. And that just plants the idea of you and her into the actual conversation. So very good. Once again, I wrote some few more just for this video that you can look at later. All right, so what you wanna do is you either want to memorize, and you probably also wanna copy some of these lines into your phone. Okay, so that when you're out, maybe, I don't know, at a nightclub, or you're out doing some daytime approaching, you can take a quick peek at your phone and actually literally repeat them verbatim if you want to. Okay, once again, this is going to allow you to start actually just practicing the format itself and just get out there with flirting, if that makes sense. All right, so step 3 would be to practice with energy. All right, because flirting is not robotically repeating lines, right? So it's not just like, okay, I said the line, so technically I'm flirting right now. No, flirting is an entire vibe. It's making things sexual, okay? So it's allowing yourself to actually feel sexual energy. All right, so when you feel the sexual energy, this then transfers over to the girl through mirror neurons. Given you also have some value, right? You're also an attractive guy. Flirting is not a magical bullet, if you also have a terrible frame where you can magically pull models out of thin air, right? So, given you're attractive, this sexual energy will then transfer to the girl. So, and it's also actually touching the girl, of course in a calibrated way, of course not in a weird way, but it's starting to, hold the girl's hand for a little bit longer than normal when you give each other a handshake. It's starting to tap her on the shoulder when she's laughing and you're teasing her. All right, it's starting to hug women. It's starting to, even escalate beyond that once you get to that point and touch her on the lower back. Once again, you have to be calibrated and be aware. All right, and so this is where most guys have a mental blockage though. When I say that you actually want to embody your sexual energy with women, huge mental blockages go up that cause guys to repress, all right, and stay friendly. And the main one is this: oh, I don't want to be creepy, right? I don't want to be creepy. That's too far. All right, and so this is really a low status mindset. All right, high status people are not afraid to express themselves. High status people are not afraid to sexualize with women, okay? And it's also black and white thinking. So you don't jump from 0 to 100, with your sexuality with women instantly. All right, so you're escalating step by step while being aware of the girl. So it's not this black and white thinking of, oh, I have to walk up to the girl and like start talking about sex or something really uncalibrated, right? It's a slow buildup, and you're being aware of the girl and you're saying, oh, is this too much tension? Like, does she look uncomfortable? Okay, switch topics and then take a step back. And by the way, this is very common. It's not about never making a girl uncomfortable a little bit at all. It's about being socially aware enough to pick up on where the girl is at currently. Okay, so another example is like, is it getting friendly or too stale? Then you add on more tension, okay? Let's add in another flirtation. All right, so this is something that you will get an intuitive feel for with practice over time, okay? So now, up to this point, you probably have a well-grooved pattern of how you behave towards women that automatically switches on when you get into an interaction. And that is friendly, playing it safe, okay? Not wanting to get rejected. So you play it safe, you stay friendly. So you need to be consciously aware of forming this new habit. It is a habit to flirt and be playful and sexualize. So be intentional when you're out doing approaches, when you're out on a date, that you're working on flirting, okay? That you're practicing, okay? So I'm gonna go up to this girl, I'm gonna practice misinterpretation maybe. I'm gonna go up to this girl, I'm gonna practice trying to do like a touch escalation. Remember, starting from the top, right? Okay? And then what you wanna do is remember that you can't people please and you can't avoid rejection your way to success, right? Just avoiding rejection and not getting rejected by the girl does not mean you will have success. You're just protecting yourself. You're just protecting your ego. That's not how it works. You actually have to take risks and push some women away in order to win. Okay, that's how it works. When you sexualize, what's gonna happen is, okay, so in the past, when I didn't know how to flirt and I was still kind of a people pleaser, I could actually get like 90% of women's numbers, like an insane amount of numbers. But guess what? None of those women would text me back. Why? Because I befriended them in the interaction, so they felt almost obligated to give me their number. But guess what? They didn't view me as somebody who was sexual or somebody high value because I was keeping it friendly with them. But when I actually started to apply flirting, I got less numbers, but my actual results increased exponentially. Okay, my interactions became much richer, all right, filled with chemistry, and I got more dates and more success. So it's pretty tricky. You have to look at success in terms of real success, okay, real dates, not protecting your ego, not avoiding rejection. This is a very important concept here, all right? So allow yourself to make mistakes. Like allow yourself to fail. You're just practicing this stuff and do experiments. Okay, and this is the beauty of cold approach. It doesn't matter if you get rejected. It doesn't matter if you embarrass yourself. You're not gonna see this girl again. All right, so don't practice this at your work, okay, with your boss. Don't practice this at your church, in your gym. All right, go to a busy city street. All right, go to a bar where there's a lot of women, go to a nightclub and practice. And guess what? Fail. It's okay. It doesn't matter. You're gaining experience. And here's the thing, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect. A lot of times just you taking action in itself, being bold, is enough. All right, most guys are too afraid to be bold. It sets you apart once again. All right, and one bonus exercise that I will give you to really have more sexual embodiment is when you're in the field, you can imagine the girl that you're talking to naked. Or you could even imagine yourself having sex with her if you wanted to. So this will cause you to feel like this wave of sexual energy. Now here are the lines right here. You could screenshot those if you want to. Now, if you have a hard time approaching or you're getting into conversations, but they're not going the way that you want, and you want me to personally help you on a one-to-one level with the system that I've developed over the last 4 years to transform your self-image, as well as master the skill set of seduction so that you can start going on consistent dates with higher quality women, then you can click the link underneath this video and book a free call with me. That's all I have for the video today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.